Why do you think young people and families are struggling so much in today's economy?
I think young people are struggling a lot because childcare is really expensive. And if it wasn't, from my experience, if it wasn't for the programs here at CSUSB, I wouldn't have been able to come to school. And of course, I don't have a village to help me with my child, and so it makes a really huge difference that I can bring her here, and I also have I know that she's safe because she's here.
I think that there's been a really big change in the costs of things and the way that resources are made available that just doesn't keep up with how much it actually costs us.
Well, for starters, it just seems like in the last 4 years, everything has gone up in price. And then if you add things like children and childcare, it's just overwhelming. I was actually talking about this with my mom the other day. I'm a veteran, so I have a lot of resources and benefits that most of my peers don't. And honestly, I'm like, how do you do it? Because, I was able to buy a home, but I have the VA home loan, and they don't have that. And I just see them struggling. And I struggle.
We're seeing research that shows that a lot of younger people are not having kids because it's so expensive. I'm wondering what you think about that.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I had my son very young. I was 20 when I had him, and I'm definitely noticing a huge difference in what I can provide to him versus what I'd like to. So it makes a lot of sense.
So I agree with that. My wife and I actually had a discussion about that. And before my kid was born, we actually discussed about this before getting into it irrationally. So it is expensive because not only do you have appointments before they're born, it's after they're born as well, with their constant visitations and stuff like that. And in terms of caring for them, maybe childcare, and maybe for instance, as a student parent, I'm a graduate student here. I have to consider maybe outside sources of who's going to take care of my kid while I'm away. So that's also a consideration.
I didn't have kids till I was 2 weeks, till I turned 30. So my first child, I was 29. And that's definitely for a reason, financial.
How much do you think childcare costs, and how much do you think it should cost?
Childcare is expensive, and I understand.
No tengo idea. I have no idea.
I know they're maybe 3,000-4,000 for a month, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe it should be a little bit less. Maybe be a little bit easier on the parents because, we're taking care of our kids so they can be the next generation leading this country.
So for me, I get subsidized childcare, so I pay $1,300 a month. And then I think it should definitely cost a little less. I'm a student, I work full time, and I'm a parent. Because it just makes it a little bit more difficult to be able to make ends meet, maybe just less than rent these days.
Yeah. Do you think it was easier or more difficult to have a family in the previous generation compared to today?
It's difficult. I would say it's a lot different. Because my parents, I'm a family of 6, so I'm the oldest of my siblings, and we had it easier compared to now, where now as a parent, I see more of I have to make sure I have enough of my needs and our needs as a family met before we move on to stuff that we want to do. And that's never in consideration. It's always making those needs met first.
Yeah. What resources or policies do you think are needed to better support families?
I think for the most part, it's childcare and maybe some extra help in terms of food and stuff that can help with my kid, for instance, in order to get a better development. Mostly childcare, I would say, because for me, if it wasn't for my mother-in-law, for instance, she's the one that's been taking care of my kid. If it wasn't for her, I would have to be going for another job just for my kid to get childcare, just so I can attend here.